Hopeful Beginnings is a 501c3 dedicated to perinatal mental health and adoption services. We believe in empowering women and families to build nurturing homes for children. The Hopeful Beginnings podcast tells the stories of pregnancy, birth, and parenthood through the eyes of professionals who serve families in our Chicagoland community. Find out more at hopefulbeginning.org. All right, everyone. Welcome to the Hopeful Beginnings podcast. Hopeful Beginnings is a 501c3 dedicated to perinatal and adoption services. We believe that by empowering women and parents, every children will have a nurturing home. Today, I am here. I have the privilege of speaking with Nicole Bolden. She is a licensed clinical social worker with over 15 years of experience serving parents, individuals, and families. She is also the owner and founder of Living Bolden, which encourages us all to say our best yes.
Yes.
Is there anything else I should add to that introduction, Nicole?
I mean, overall, I like to help all families, people just really reconnect with themselves so that it is possible, so they feel like it's possible to say their best yes. And a lot of that is around parenthood and just transitions in life. So, yeah, I like to think of myself as a chief transformation officer of my company and just like all the spaces that I try to enter in.
I love that because parenthood is all about juggling the 20 things you're supposed to be doing and prioritizing what is actually the most important thing.
Yeah.
Which for a lot of us is our family, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you and I met because your first company is called Thriving with Baby. So really, I'd love to hear because we really hit it off so quickly. I never got to ask these questions of what brought you to perinatal work and what was the driver around wanting to serve parents of babies and young children?
Yes. So just to zoom out, Thriving with Baby really was an affirmation for myself because I got into the perinatal space, really dove deep into it after I had my first child. So I did a little bit of work before with teen moms, but it really didn't click until after I had my own child and just went through all the interventions. We can kind of say it was a traumatic birth. Okay. And then I had a doula, took the childbirth education classes, and my doula was awesome, but it was just different. Mm-hmm. And then I went afterwards to try to get therapy. And my therapist, again, she probably was great in her own skill set, but perinatal mental health clearly was not her skill set. And it just left me feeling unheard and unseen. And I'm the type of person who's like, there's a need.
There's a gap there. We could do better, right?
Yes.
And that's so interesting because when I think about my career, I started as a home visitor without children. And then, continuing in this work now as a mother of 3, there's so much I didn't know.
My gosh. Yeah. Yeah.
And the things I have said in my career that I was like, what was I thinking? And it's not a lack of education. It's not that I did anything wrong. But I think, while we don't often bring our personal experience into the therapy room, it really informs the work we do.
Right. Like, I never want to throw my junk on someone, but my experiences help me see the person differently. I don't just see an issue. Because I've walked it, I'm able to actually see the person because I realize this is not just a textbook case like, oh, here's the interventions, blah, blah, blah. Right. Like, having walked through this experience, I'm like, okay, let me see you because right now when you go to this transition, you feel unseen. And that creates so much more of the problem. So first, let me see you, and then we can work on everything else.
And that's so powerful. And so going off of that, Nicole, everyone sees you, right? You're the Black woman in the room in a very white suburb often, Schaumburg, Arlington Heights, our northwest suburbs. there's not a lot of strong African American women. Can you talk about what is that experience to you, and why it's so important that our spaces, especially our perinatal mental health spaces, why do they need to look and incorporate and embrace diversity?
Yeah. And even though I'm in the suburbs now, I started off in the city, and 13 years ago, it was not very diverse either. So now
it's still not. Most of the women look like me. It's mostly white women sitting
Yeah.
around talking about childbirth,
Yeah.
which is such a contradiction when most of the women having the babies don't look like me anymore, statistically.
Yeah. And it's important because of just the experience that I had, like going through the childbirth education, having a doula, having a therapist. None of them looked like me.
Yeah.
I'm sure they had great hearts, but when I was pointing out something in the hospital system, like, that doesn't seem right, they couldn't see the same thing I was seeing because they had never experienced it.
Do you feel like they dismiss discrimination?
I wouldn't say completely dismissed it, but they weren't fully aware of the consequences of it. Whereas someone who's lived through it, had ancestors who lived through, I'm like, the consequences can be more dire than you think it is.
Well, I mean, it has
As
to
we
be.
see.
I don't know. I mean, obviously, I don't know how it was for you during your birth, but when we have clients that are African Americans giving birth, there is that tinge of, is she going to make it? Because, the mortality rate for Black women giving birth, it's way higher than it should be. It's higher than Latinas, it's higher than white women. So how was that for you,
Yeah, and it was so interesting because I went in there naively thinking, well, I'm educated. I've been through all the classes. I have the support by a doula. I'm equipped with the classes. Like, the people should see, like, I'm not just out here just winging it. Like, I know what I'm talking about.
You're proving yourself.
Right. I've proven myself. I checked the boxes. I got an A. So give me my gold star.
My therapist would have something to say about that.
That was like, give me my gold star. And I didn't get the gold star. And that's when it really hit me.
Yeah.
And that's why I was like, that's why the diversity is needed, because there's a lot of us out here thinking like, oh, if I just do everything right, I will be different. But the structural racism, I hate to call it what it is, but like the structural racism doesn't care about your education, doesn't care how prepared you are. When you walk in that room, you're still someone different to them.
Right.
And someone different from you scares people. Everyone has a bias, everyone has fears, and that's just the reality of it. Like, folks are taught certain things, and that brings about fear. And until we be intentional about changing those storylines, there's always going to be the systematic racism. There's still going to be people not seen or heard because they think they know who you are based off these other people's stories.
Or they think, I don't have bias, right? I don't know how many, fellow white people, I will say, have just said, well, I don't see color. I treat everybody the same, when that's humanly impossible.
Right.
I don't even treat all my kids the same. And
Right.
I made them all.
Right.
We treat people differently based on our lived experience, based on the information we have. And when we don't acknowledge that, that just, amplifies the problem.
Yeah, even that line, as heartfelt as it was, like, I don't see color, there's a huge problem in that. It's like, no, I need you to see me. I need you not to fear color. That's what it needs to say. Like, I don't fear color, because I need you to see my color so you can see some of my history and know where I'm coming from, just a little bit of it. Like, you still need to see me individually. Like, we all don't have the same story, but you can have a little bit of context. Like, okay, let me make space for you. And if you don't see color, you're not truly making space for me.
You're not seeing your client. You're not seeing your neighbor. You're just working on yourself to see past it and not seeing the person in front of you.
Right. And then when we look into the perinatal space, if you don't fully see your client, you can't make a safe space for them, and that you can't truly help them in this very vulnerable time. The perinatal space is such a vulnerable time, and it's the time where we have the most access to transformation, because everything is up for question.
You're creating a new identity basically for
Yes.
yourself, because I know, sitting here as a mother of 3, I am not the person I was before I had them, biologically, physically, mentally, it changes you. So can you tell me, as a therapist, having worked with many clients who've had postpartum depression, what does that feel like for a mom? How is her daily experience of living with postpartum depression, and does it get better?
Yes, it can get better because the biggest thing with postpartum depression is, one, you don't feel like you're enough. Like I hear a common theme where folks are leaving the hospital. It's like, really? They gonna trust me? Like leaving this little being? No one's gonna come follow me?
No,
Like there's
yeah.
no real class about this? Like I'm just leaving this house with this little bitty baby. Leaving the hospital and just like, first, so you're not feeling like you're enough. You're not even sure who you are anymore because the whole birthing process, it was never, you were never the client. It was all about like, how do we get this baby earthside? And so
Right.
like, you're just a vessel at that point. You're literally a human incubator, and that messes with your mind. People don't think about that. It's like, oh, okay, so it's not really about me. It's about this unborn child here. Okay. So,
And it never will be about you in the same way it ever was again, right? I think we're doing a little bit better as a society to acknowledge parents, but still, your baby's not going to acknowledge you. Your baby is going to ask for what it needs from you to survive.
yeah.
And part of that experience is putting yourself aside, right? But if you're dealing with all this depressive symptoms, you can't show up for yourself or for your baby or for, your family the way you want.
Right. So it is that element of just like not feeling like enough, feeling alone, because a lot of people, society as a whole, has painted this picture of motherhood as like, oh, you brought this little person to world, so great. Like, you should be so grateful. You should be so happy. Woo, this is normal. Like, you were born to do this. So you shouldn't have any pain, shouldn't have any problem. You should just have this child and automatically know how to be a mom. Like, we don't say it, but we say it. Like, it's assumed that as soon as that baby comes out of you, or even before the baby comes out, you automatically know how to be a mother. You automatically know how to love this person. And then when it doesn't happen, doesn't click instantly, now you're like, am I a failure? Am I alone in this?
Am I broken?
Am I broken? Because we don't talk about it, because we all have the same assumption, like, I must be the only one feeling this.
Or I think, too, what I've been told, I make it a point to warn, non-mothers about, if they're pregnant, about, maybe what's a little bit in store for them of, and I've gotten the comment of, don't scare them. Don't tell them that they're going to be so sleep deprived that they're going to crash their car. Because that almost happened to me. That's how I ended up co-sleeping with my third. I couldn't function. And that's a real thing. And I think, like you said, there's not enough space for those real conversations of, how motherhood looks in our society today in 2025. It's such an absence of reality. And getting back to that is, really what I think we need to do for parents, to heal.
Yeah.
And then I will say, something that I have talked about with friends that I've heard from clients is, when you are on that road of recovery, there can be an anxiety, right? Of, am I really getting better, or am I going to slip back into depression? Have you seen that with clients?
Yes, I have seen it. But when they've actually gotten close, I pause because I don't know why, but right now, like, saying recovery doesn't feel right because it's a continuous journey. Motherhood is always changing. But what I will say, and a common theme, is like, when you finally feel the clouds move away, you reached a different point in the journey and you can see yourself a little bit more. Like, you're still, like, you're in a different level. Like, you're not all down in the dumps anymore. We wouldn't label it depression anymore.
Right.
But you still have to be intentional, because it is very easy to slip back into it, because America tells us that we must deny ourselves as women in order to be good mothers. And that is never good to the ego. That is never good to the mind to say you have to sacrifice who you are for someone else. Our mind was not built for that.
Our mind was built for survival.
Exactly. And that is counterproductive to survival, saying don't think about yourself. And that actually doesn't allow us to be good mothers, actually. To be a good mother, you have to see yourself so that you can hold space for your child. If we're not seeing ourselves, then we're just throwing all of our junk on our kids. And this is why some people are living vicariously through their kid, because they ignored themselves. Is that really good motherhood? Is that good parenthood? This goes for dads too. You know, how many football dads do we have that's pushing that kid and the kid doesn't even like football?
Right,
you know, but the dad couldn't live that dream. And so now they're encouraging the kid. And now the kid thinks the only way for to get approval is to do the thing. So like, we tried.
It's a
That's
cycle.
not working.
It's a cycle. It's an unhealthy cycle, right? Of self-denial. And it's a bad example. I think about, I have all boys at home, right? And if I'm not doing what I need to do as a woman, as a mother, how are they going to look at motherhood when they maybe get married and have children or adopt a child? Are they going to, if their partner is a woman, are they going to expect that woman to then make the same sacrifices?
Right.
No, I want their future partner to be empowered to do whatever she needs to do so they can have a healthy family.
Right, right. And that is good for men too, because if their partner feels seen and have the freedom to take care of themselves, then they have more capacity to help your sons feel seen and live their best life. That's how it's really going to be healthy, because if everyone's seeing each other, there's a different flow there. The kids are now, there's space for them, and they're not fighting for approval. Like, everyone is seen as their authentic self, and that is how home becomes a safe space. But a lot of people don't get that.
Right, right. Is that something you have learned? So your journey kind of started after, birth, difficult birth situation, and wanting to be seen as a new mother. Is that evolution of Nicole as a parent also your evolution as a therapist and a professional?
Yes, because it's so interesting. Before I had kids, I was already doing a lot of social justice work. I was working with people in human trafficking. I had worked with teen moms. I had worked abroad. And so I had a good breadth of experience. But then becoming a mom, it allowed me to respect the evolution journey a little bit more. Like, I saw the resilience of people, and I loved that. I was like, oh, this is amazing. But I had only did a little bit of my own evolution. So having this full evolution, I'm like, oh, this changes everything. And so I'm able to hold that space and encourage people in a different way. And I'm able to say, like, I know this feels scary right now, but keep going. Keep going, because there's something very beautiful on the other side. And then another other side. And then another other side. It's like, keep going. And so I'm not just saying it because it sounds pretty. I'm saying it because I am walking the journey with them. And that's different. That's different because a lot of times I feel like historically therapy has been like power and control. Like, I know everything. I have arrived. Let me tell you how to live. But this makes it
Which I think is why a lot of people are so hesitant, right, to start therapy. Because it is that, like you said, some of us struggle with authorities to start out with. Not saying I do. Maybe I do a little bit. But the last thing you want is to tell your problems to someone who's perfect.
Right.
Right? And so having someone who is also coming to that relationship, right? Because I always think therapy is a relationship, and say, okay, I'm not perfect, but I'm going to hear you. I'm going to give you that space is so different than the therapist who's coming into the room saying, I'm going to teach you a coping strategy, and you're going to do some square breathing and stop yelling at your kids.
Right.
Because every parent yells at their kids.
Mm-hmm. And is that really therapy? Therapy truly is not just about me giving you advice or telling you what's wrong and what's right. Therapy is me guiding you on the journey to have a different relationship with yourself. So that when you're outside the therapy room, you can see the stories and be like, thank you for showing up. I know you're just trying to keep me safe. I looked both ways. We can cross the street. That is what true therapy is. It's bringing to the awareness of does those stories serve you anymore? How did it serve you in the past? Are you okay with that? Is it still serving you now? How can you have a different relationship with that story? Because we can never really get rid of it. We can just change the way we relate to it. Because that story is a part of us. It created a part of us, and we don't want to deny it because it did help us survive. If you're here talking to me right now, you have survived something. So thank goodness you had that story, because then you wouldn't be here in front of me. So we're not going to poo-poo on it and say you're awful. It's just you did your work. Mm-hmm. Thank you for showing up, but we're in a different season now.
Right.
And we're going to create a different story. I see you, though. Thank you. But not right now.
We've moved on.
We moved on. And that's what true therapy is. It's not saying close the door, because that's not doing anything. Because eventually the door is going to open back up.
They always do.
They always
do. You can't outrun your trauma, right? You have to look it in the face, is what I've learned, through my own therapy journey. So what is next for Living Bolden? What is next for Nicole as a professional?
Yes. My heart is really wanting to expand and be a trainer, be a teacher. I love teaching. And I feel like my call is really to support other people who are supporting others, because that's how we expand our reach. Mm-hmm. There's a huge need right now for good mental health providers. And I want to provide a schooling of sorts, have groups for my people still touch the population that I like to serve, but maybe more group work, because that is very therapeutic too. It really touches that I'm not alone. So do the group work, do the retreats, get people out of their normal environment so they can see themselves again, but also train the other providers so they can feel seen. There's so many providers out here who aren't being seen themselves, and that's why they're only providing halfway good therapy.
Or they're burning out.
Or they're burning out.
Because I think that's so beautiful, because I think there is such a shortage, to start with, of good mental health providers, but you only learn so much in school.
Right.
And your schooling and your knowledge, I guess, or your wisdom really starts when you start seeing clients. But unfortunately, that's when your, formal, education stops. So really being able to hold those who are holding so much for clients, that's such an amazing superpower.
Yeah, because we're also in a different time over the last 5 years. I feel like never in history have therapists had to maneuver the way they've had to maneuver now. We all are going through the same crisis while trying to help other people go through the crisis. And it's I don't know, you tell me when you figure it out. But I can't say that.
I think we do. We all say it in our little offices, but we have to say it to each other, right?
Right.
Because that's the first part of the battle, is acknowledging that we're all in this together, and hopefully we'll all make it out together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it's just holding that space so less people will burn out, because burnout isn't just doing too much. Burnout is getting disconnected from yourself. Yeah. And so holding that space so people don't get disconnected. But yes, that's the next thing. Awesome. Going to a different level of just I can share some knowledge.
You can. You have a lot of knowledge to share. If people want to find you, get in touch with you, Nicole, how can they do that?
Thriving with Baby is still a great place to check me out. I'm on Instagram, Thriving with Baby Chicago. And on Facebook too, Thriving with Baby. So
there you go.
And if you want to email me, info@thrivingwithbaby.
I
try and make
it
simple.
All right. Well, thank you, Nicole, so much for sharing this conversation today. Thank you for being on the Hopeful Beginnings podcast. And I appreciate you. I see you.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.